Introduce and moderate the panel. Thank you.
Good morning. Can I use this? Good morning, everyone. Hope you had your coffee. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my panelists. First is Tariq Homsi. He's the general manager of Diwani, and they have some great properties that he just showed us. Hope he's going to talk about that. And next we have Zafar Younes. He's the CEO of the Online Project, one of the leading social media agencies in the region. And also we have Tariq Nasser, the CEO of Planet 360, one of the most creative and innovative social media agencies. And also Vadi Efe from Turkey, the founder and partner of Decathlon Buzz, I think the biggest social media agency amongst the panelists. The panelists, they're gonna introduce a case study in 5 minutes, illustrating some of the things that they did for their clients and some of the challenges that they've had. So we're gonna start with Tariq Homsi.
Hello, everyone. The case study is about the work we did for L'Oréal Professionnel. Diwani is a publisher, but we work with brands around creating content. And if L'Oréal Professionnel, for those of you who know, is mostly a hair care brand distributed in hair salons. And basically the challenge for us was really to change starting by changing the approach of L'Oréal Professionnel to digital marketing, from an approach of spending online to an approach of investing and creating assets online and digital assets that stand the course of time. And basically to do this, the way Diwani approaches it is to create content and then to distribute this content online, content that is relevant for the brands. I'll talk about this. And to distribute this content online on the relevant platforms, including social media platforms, in particular and then to engage the users around the content, to share it and like it, and etc., and to keep it around in the digital sphere. Of course, the brief and included the typical and classical requirements of increasing brand awareness, the engagement, etc. The target group was 18 to 50, GCC mainly female. So in terms of the strategy, what we really do is we try to research, we do research what people are interested in, and to identify content areas that match the brand's competencies and the user interests. Google Insights is a very easy and useful tool to identify what people are really interested in. And then you need to propose content to the users on behalf of the brand that makes sense for the brand, that is interesting, that is desirable, that is valuable, and that people wanna really discuss and share. And this is the real foundation of this social media strategy. Now for L'Oréal Professionnel, obviously the main theme around this was around hair care. And in terms of distribution platforms, based on the content that was proposed, we decided to obviously use a Facebook page, but also create a YouTube channel for all the video content that was created around the brand. And we use for one of the special operations a microsite on mbc.net. So in terms of the implementation and what we really went and did around this, when I talk about content, the key areas that we really looked at were tips and advice around hair and hair care, and that was very important. And to start with the beginning, actually, one of the key and courageous decisions on behalf of the brand was to call the Facebook page Hair Secrets and not L'Oréal Professionnel. And that was one of the key drivers of the success of this Facebook page in this operation, to be really focused and centered around user interests rather than a brand. And because in this region we see that users trust brands and trust the brand's content, trust content proposed by the brand, in particular around advice and so on. So that was a pretty positive dynamic. So there's a lot of content on around advice, how-tos. People ask their questions and they get answers in an informative way and so on. But there is also the usual types of competitions and sweepstakes and so on. You find some videos. We also shot some how-to videos, and you also have some video content from offline activities that are available there. Now, two of the very important parameters to be successful in implementation were basically engaging the community with a consistent pace, but also a pretty diverse set of types of engagement, and on one end, and to be fully integrated with the offline and product launch campaigns. So, for example, we had an operation on the Facebook page that supported and complemented what was done in appearing on a TV show on NBC called Sabah al Khair ya Arab. And the last key to the success in terms of implementation is to have a very close relationship between your community managers and the brand managers, making sure that first, your community managers are well trained on the brand and they really understand and are able to respond to the requests. And second, to put in place a good escalation process in terms of the user's feedback and e-reputation and so on, so that the right messages get to the right people, in particular handling some issues that are raised online with products or anything else. And last, making sure that you use community management to channel back feedback to the brand managers about what their users like and don't like, and what they're interested in and so on. In terms of results, this page up to, I think I updated it yesterday, for the region it's a pretty good number. It had 56,000 likes. But most importantly, that creates a pretty important social capital. That's the first page for L'Oréal Professionnel worldwide. It's the largest page for them. And it creates a really strong social capital for the brand to reach out to with its messages going forward. But most importantly, these guys are active, and the activity rate is around 4 times what we expected as an average for a page this size. So that's something we're pretty happy about, because it's not just about competitions and sweepstakes and winning and so on. It's really about content and the user's interests, and the most important thing for our brand managers is increasing sales. And from a qualitative feedback, we've analyzed the feeds and so on, and we see that yes, there are lots of questions about where can I find this product. There's a salon locator that gets a lot of traffic and so on, and on one end, and we've started right now couponing operations to be able to measure this in a much more precise format. And basically, in terms of lessons learned for us, is that content is key basically to driving audience and user engagement, making sure that you get the right mix, and that you ensure variety and the right level of frequency. You have to listen to your audience, because actually the audience of L'Oréal Professionnel for hair care is pretty different than the audience for Maybelline, which is another L'Oréal product that we manage. And at this stage, it's really about analyzing what they want, also asking them and surveying them. And that's about it. Enjoy Facebook Insights.
تست صباح الخير. So I'm going to start by just telling you a bit about our client. It's called Vera Moda. It's a fashion brand based around the Middle East. They have more than 16 stores in different countries. And they target young, fashion-oriented females. One of the challenges is that they have a very big catalog every season. The mission we had was to promote the new collection and at the same time to increase their sales. And of course, we had a very low budget. The reason why I like to share this case study with you is because it's very easy to do. You can replicate it many times over and over, the concept, and it doesn't cost much. It's sort of a DIY social media promotion. The solution, we called it the Vera Moda Miss Fashionista competition. Basically, you register as a fan. You come down to the Vera Moda store. You style our Vera Moda model using our latest collection items. We post the pictures online, and the voting starts. The collection that gets the most votes wins the competition, wins the title, and wins an exclusive shopping spree at the store. You can see some of the creations that the contestants created. Of course, to cater for our region's culture, we thought that the contestants wouldn't like to appear in the pictures themselves, so we got professional models and they had to style the models instead of appearing in the pictures themselves. The results were quite good. I can't see the results myself, so but you can trust me. We had 86 registered fashionistas. We chose 21 of them, and over 21,000 comments and likes. The winning fashionista had 1,700 votes, over 1,700 votes. We had over 120,000 views of the pictures. Now, the interesting thing here is, going back to the mission was to show the collections. So we actually showed each item in the new collection in a very sort of peer-to-peer recommendation way. The most two results are the most impressive because we actually tracked the sales and the traffic in the stores. In the first week of the promotion, we had a 25% sales increase. In the second week, we had a 40% sales increase. The key learnings, we were value oriented from the start. So we knew that the brand wanted to show the catalog and they wanted to sell more. They didn't want more fans. They didn't want likes. They didn't want that. They wanted to see ROI on their investment. We picked a good incentive both for the brand and for the audience. When you pick an promotion, it has to be attractive for the audience, but it has to help you position your brand in a good way. So here we gave Miss Vera Moda sort of the authority in who is Miss Fashionista. They have the fashion authority. We set clear rules and regulations. It was based on online and offline integration. So if you decide to do a Facebook promotion, make sure that it's not just on Facebook. If it has an offline component to it, it works much better. One more interesting part here is that we sort of empowered the contestants to get better results. So we did two things. We did a fashion course, a 2-day fashion course for the contestants, where we taught them how to pick the colors and how to pick the styles. Of course, this reflected better on our client because the collections that we posted looked better. And we gave them a social media course. We got them in a room and we explained to them how to use Facebook and Twitter to promote their collections. And we taught them the meaning of spamming because we didn't want to end up spamming people through the promotion. So we were very strict about that, and we told them what's the difference between spamming and marketing your collection. The last point is that this promotion actually built relationships. Other than the 25% sales increase and the 40% sales increase, we built 21 long-term relationships with those contestants. We took them out to dinner. We gave all of them presents at the end of the promo. Value to them by giving them the fashion course and the social media course. and they're still advocates for the brand. They visit the pages consistently, and they always have positive feedback for the brand.
Okay, صباح الورد. I'm going to take you through a case study سريعا كده عملناه لعزة فهمي جولري. Basically go through how a brand ما كانش موجود online, how we took them online. Okay. Basically the objectives بتاعتنا لما جينا خدنا عزة فهمي online كانت كالآتي. أول حاجة we wanted to increase brand awareness, particularly amongst the younger audience. علشان عزة فهمي predominantly is a brand that is seen as an older brand with an older fan base. We wanted to engage our audience. This was very important as well, and establish ourselves as cutting edge. It's very important to position the brand as cutting edge and young and hip, so as to break away from the old stereotype we had, while at the same time keeping it authentic. لأن هما their main selling point is that it's authentic. It's very important. So we didn't want to break away too far from that. Also, it's very difficult actually client to start off with, because they're also a global brand. So they want to be sure that they're communicating not only to a local or a regional audience, but to an international audience. And of course, as an objective, as with any other campaign, you need to make sure that you're syncing up your above-the-line communication with your online communication. So you're not saying something here and then over there you're saying something completely different. At the end of the day, cash money is shalabi. You want to get drive people to the point of sale. We had a couple of matabat or challenges. The main thing is that Azza Fahmy wants to be targeting the right audience, because obviously it's kind of like an upscale product. Not everyone can afford it, and we want to, and it's exclusive, which leads us to the second point, is that it's very tricky when you're communicating a luxury brand online, particularly using social media, because social media obviously is open social networks for everyone, yet at the same time you're trying to keep it a little bit exclusive. So it's a difficult balancing act. And thirdly, the fact that we're talking again to an international audience while keeping an authentic Egyptian heritage. عملنا ايه بقى التكتيك او the strategy? Basically we decided to grow the fan base completely organically, without any use of advertising on Facebook or whatsoever. Our personal opinion is that really doesn't work. You buy fans and then the numbers keep on going up and up, and then these fans, they don't really care about you. All they do is they maybe take part in the promotion, and then they won't do anything, and they'll just be pretty much stagnant until they find the unlike button a couple of months later. We wanted also to get these fans by positioning ourselves as young and hip, yet at the same time authentic. We wanted a strong social media presence that is consistent across all the different vehicles, and we wanted to make sure that we have the correct communication platform for the brand that's in line with the brand personality. You don't want to just be talking about something completely unrelated to brand, because it's going to get you fans. Because at the end of the day, you're hurting your brand, and you don't want to go on social media online and hurt your brand, which a lot of brands do. And we wanted to engage via digital activities as well, in digital installations and applications. التنفيذ بقى, or what we did exactly, how we implemented this, is that obviously first of all we developed all the social media platforms, and then we created something we're really proud of and it's really cool, called the Inspiration Box. And that's the Inspiration Box. Obviously it's online, not offline. And basically what happens is, it was very important to communicate that Azza Fahmy as a brand is not just a one-woman show. It's not a woman sitting at home doing jewelry. This is like a huge operation with hundreds of employees. It's a design house. So we created this Inspiration Box where people from the company go online, and they basically, if they see something, if they see a nice window in the street with a good design, if they see anything that inspires them, they write it and they throw it in the Inspiration Box. And then basically you log on to the Inspiration Box and you take that piece of paper and drag it into the box, and then you read that inspiration. So lots of people from the company are doing that. So it's very interactive and it's a lot of fun. Also, what else did we do? Okay, we have basically the setup is they have 4 collections, like every fashion brand: summer, spring, fall, and winter. So for every collection, we do the following. We share lots of behind-the-scenes sneak peeks because it's really interesting the way they make the jewelry, and a lot of fans are really into that. Also, we share a lot of research goes into their products. So we share a lot of the research that goes into their products and the sketches of the designers, the preliminary sketches, which is very interesting to anyone that would be into fashion. What else? We also give. Now what we do is that when every collection launches, we actually showcase it first on social media before it even is at the store. So that's something very cool as well. And we create lots of digital applications that I'm going to go through very quickly in the info. طبعا عايزين results والكرة جوان. Basically we got tens of thousands of organic fans. They're all organic. They're all organic fans. None of them we didn't buy a single fan. I'm trying to see what the hell's written. Okay, we got 9,000 inspiration box, 9,000 plus inspiration box readers. Yeah, we got mentions on lots of fashion sites and blogs, from Vogue to Elle, all the international blogs and sites that are into fashion are talking about Azza Fahmi, as well as the regional ones and the local ones as well. And we're establishing a rapport with the online influencers, which is very, very important because the fashion blogosphere is very, very active and very, very powerful. Yeah, we created a viral video. I wish I could show it to you. Maybe you guys can check it out on YouTube to launch the Egypt collection. Maybe there's a snapshot later. And we also did something really cool as well. Facebook, what we did is, you guys can see the screenshots there. What we did, but don't tell Facebook. What we did is we took the Facebook wall. We created another tab also called the Facebook wall, and then you would go on the wall, and then you would try to interact with the wall, but the wall wouldn't work, and then it would break down and crumble, and the wall would completely break down, and then you would see the new collection, and you'd be able to share it on Facebook and Twitter. So we got over 90,000 impressions for that, and we got voted as the #4 most authentic brand in 2011, and we weren't in the running in 2010, and this voted online. So it means that we have a lot of brand ambassadors that are very passionate about the brand and that go out of their way to vote for us and speak about us. Okay, lessons learned بقى. ذاكر عشان تنجح. You need to do analysis. It's very, very important. You need to take a very, very good look at all the competition, especially on an international level, but even on a local or regional level before actually doing anything. Secondly, it's a two-way street. You need consistent communication is very, 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 very important. I think you guys have alluded to that already. It's not all about the money. Bot fans are not brand ambassadors. They'll come in for a contest and maybe win a free sandwich, and then you're gonna never see them again. I have to give props also to the client, because this particular client gives us a lot of leeway in terms of being creative and lets us really explore lots of different avenues, and is not just hammering us with books and PDFs on their guidelines. Check care, obviously, for you guys here in Egypt and other places around the Arab region, during the uprisings, it's very, very tricky with regards to when you're going to communicate, especially in Egypt. February, March is very, very tricky. Should we tweet anything? Should we tweet about the subject? Shouldn't we? My advice, first, the market rule does not apply here. You should stay low, which is, after a lot of discussions, what we decided to do, and it worked out well for us. The client needs, and the agency and the client, they need to be partners, and you need to have the room to experiment. Social media is all about experimenting. Not every contest that you're going to create is going to be a success. Not everything you're going to do is going to be a success, but you need to have room to experiment. And finally, brainstorming, especially if you're smoking shisha, is very, very important, because it lets you be very creative. And I would highly recommend, for brands and brands and agencies, that you include everyone in the brainstorming process, because everyone is coming at a different angle, and if you brief them well, you can come up with something really interesting.
And you recommend shisha as well?
I recommend shisha. All right, thank you.
Okay, Vadi.
Our case studies, a work from Philips Turkey. It's a shaving machine launch advert game. I want to ask how many of the men here use a shaving machine to shave their beards? like majority or minority. Minority. You also do it. In in Turkey, most of the men use a razor blade as well. So there is a minority who use a shaving machine. And in Turkish, there is a word. It's called sinek kaydı, which means if you shave yourself very well, a fly slips over your face. This is a sinek kaydı also. It's a word. So we used the same word to create an advert game, a social advert game on Facebook. Because our main target was to show people that a shaving machine can shave your beard as well as a razor blade. So we created a social advert game on Facebook, and our target audience was young male people who use a razor blade. So we wanted to convert them to our new shaving machine. And we used this fly as the character in our game. So we have created a social advert game which they could connect on Facebook, and then if they play the advert game every day, they get new points. And they could also challenge on the game with their own friends. And if they challenge to their own friends and then they make a better point, just like Sims or like Farmville, they could get more into the challenge and they could get more better prizes. So there was a word of mouth effect on the algorithm of the game. So every day male people logged into Facebook and then they played this game to get like prizes. On this case study, product placement is very important because during the game you could experience like how the shaving machine works for you. There were 3 stages of the game, so you could experience a shaving experience with a gel, or just dry face, or with different types of skin. So you could experience the 3 most important aspects of the shaving machine of Philips. For example, Aquatech technology is that you can shave your skin also with gel and with water. So we put the aspects of the product also on the game. And then during the game, to market the game, we also used bloggers. We connected with some of the most influential bloggers, and then we sent some information to them about the game, about our character, and we invited them to the game to experience the aspects of the machine. So we also gave them a check to get the machine with a lower price. And we also connected the game to an e-commerce store where you could get the shaving machine to buy with a credit card. And as a result, the game connected to the e-commerce store, and the shaving machine we marketing was the most sold machine in the e-commerce store. So it also could lead to the sales. So in this case study we have the social game approach, also word of mouth marketing, like blogger and influencer engagement. Also we led to the sales. So it was like a 360 degree advert game and social media campaign. Not only engagement, also like creative development and product placement. So this is one of the case studies we like to tell to people. So I wanted to share it with you. I hope you liked it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for the great studies. My first question is, I mean, people use social media to connect with their friends, to check out their photos, to read their tweets. How do you fit a brand in there? I mean, in the beginning it sounds a bit alien, but now, I mean, we've grown to accept brand as part of our friends. How do you fit it in there?
Our approach is pretty simple, and my view on this is pretty simple. The brand needs to provide you to bring something that interests you, and that starts there. I have a few brands on my own Facebook that I liked, but a lot of those that I work with.
What do they do differently that you like them?
Well, they need to bring you some information, some content. That's our standpoint, anyways. That is of interest for you. And if the brand brings you information, if the brand brings you competitions that are fun for you, if the brand brings you sometimes promotions that you're interested in, then you might be willing to have them on your page.
So it's about the relevant content. This is the most important part.
In the long run, it's mostly about relevant content. To have a brand on your wall and actually keep it, and not be and remain an active user, I believe it's really about that.
It's an interesting question. What should brands do on social networks? I find it a bit difficult to understand why some brands do things that we as people wouldn't ever do on social networks. Oversharing our good features or over boasting about who we are. There's a science called social intelligence. It's done for human beings. What do you need to do to be socially intelligent? To be socially successful, to have friends in life, what do you need to do? Someone summed it up in 5 points. SPACE. SPACE. S is for situational awareness. You need to be aware of the situation you're in. So if you walk into a room with people are not happy, it's not nice to say a joke. Or if you feel that you're with two people who just had a fight, you might want to not talk as much. So this brands need to be also situationally aware when they're on social networks. The second thing that people need to do to be socially successful in life is have presence. And I believe brands need to have presence as well. They need to have a presence on social networks.
What do you mean presence? Like be there?
Be there. Have a page that's having presence as a person. Charisma is presence. When you walk into a room and you stand tall and you project yourself well, that's presence. And that's what brands need to do as well on social networks. They need to have a presence that's consistent with their offline personality. The third thing is authenticity. If you want to be socially successful, you have to be authentic. If you lie to people, you won't have many friends. People will find out. Brands need to do the same thing. You cannot lie to people. And clarity. Also, when you speak, you need to be clear. Your messages need to be well studied. You shouldn't talk too much. You should focus on the important points. Brands need to do that as well to be socially successful. And the last one, which is the most important one, for humans and for brands, is empathy. Having the ability to feel with the person who's in front of you. If he is having a problem, to actually feel his pain and to try to solve it for him. And I believe that brands really need to do that in order to be successful socially on social networks. So, just as you said, social networks are made for friends. If a brand wants to be on a social network, it has to actually act like a friend. It has to
You
think
mean in
like
a casual way, not in a
not
corporate way?
Not necessarily in a casual way. You know, you don't expect a president of a country to be casual. You don't expect a serious brand to be casual. It's just not. It's
But
not
I mean, from what I've seen, the casual brands, I mean, they connect more with their followers and fans than the.
It depends on the brand itself and what it's selling. If it's an insurance brand, maybe you don't want them to be that casual. Or if it's a medical brand, maybe you don't want them to be that casual. It depends what the brand truly is. But I believe you need to be socially intelligent as a brand.
But to summarize your points, it's about empathy, clarity, presence.
It's space. Actually, this is a social intelligence theory. If you Google space, social intelligence, you'll find a very good review of each point. SPACE. So S is for situational awareness, presence, authenticity, clarity, and empathy. Those are the 5 things that make us as human, even if you're interested about this for yourself, if you want to be socially successful, those are the 5 social intelligence factors that can make you more socially successful. I believe brands have to abide by the same rules.
Okay, thank you, Tariq.
Yeah, I think it's very simple. It's three things in my opinion. Content, like Nick said before, content is king. You need to make sure, first of all, you need to decide on what you're going to be talking about, what your communication platforms are going to be. They have to be in line with the brand and at the same time interesting, obviously, for the audience. You don't want to bore them to death. And then secondly, you need to be engaging. It can be through contests. It maybe doesn't have to be through contests. It depends on your brand, but you need to somehow engage them. And then the third thing is loyalty. You want to give them ownership of the brand and make them feel like they're part of the experience and they're part of the brand, and because they'll become much more loyal. So I think those are pretty much three basic.
So you mean, loyalty? You mean empowering some of your fans and friends?
Yeah, try to empower them all. Why not? And empower the fans, make them feel sense of ownership, make them feel that this is their brand. This is not a big, corporate dude with a suit talking to them and posting on a Facebook page. It's someone probably just like them, and it'll be a lot more fun, and you'll own these these fans will be a lot more important too.
Okay, Vadi.
I'll give you a different approach. Most of the social media users use a mouse to communicate and not a keyboard. So if you give them contents to share easily, just without writing something, maybe just a movie, a video, which they can just share on a click, or they can watch it and then like it, just with one click. Then they communicate very easily. So mostly we try to engage with them with comments or with like feedbacks.
So you mean less effort instead of
less
asking too much
less
of them?
effort brings more communication. So if we give them like more premium content, the content they could like to post to their friends, it's one of the best ways to do it. Of course, we also have to give them our own content which could lead to sales. But we mostly do it like maybe 1/3 of the content, because if you give them too much self-promotion, it's disturbing after a while.
No, I think what Tariq meant by content is like tips and content that's relevant.
You shall also
about,
create
like,
value,
promoting
of course,
yourself.
of course.
Yeah.
You shall of course promote yourself because you have your own market. You have your marketing targets.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be everything. Like, shouldn't always talk about how good your product is.
You can maybe give them tips and tricks, and also you can create value by giving them content which could they not find easily. And on the corporate communication side, you also have different aspects where you can communicate with your users. Like you have the magazine of your company, for example, or you have your TV channel, maybe in your own company, and which people cannot see from the mass media, And you can also use these materials to communicate with them. You can use the digital technology to engage with them on the mass media with the materials you couldn't share before.
Okay, thanks.
Could I add a small thing?
Yeah, sure.
Just with regards to content, I agree. I really like the mouse part, by the way. The 80 there's a common thing that's probably best practice, which is the 80-20 rule, which is you try to give them 80% content that doesn't have to do with your brand, and then maybe 20% you try to shove stuff down their throats. But say more than 20%.
It's not shoving. You could
No,
introduce.
I'm joking.
But it's still acceptable.
What I've noticed, kind of looking at the levels of interactions on the different types of posts and so on, is that you can create some sort of dynamic on the page, where basically if they start really appreciating what the page is doing and saying for them, then the other part is easier. I can take an example from tips and then saying, okay, this product, yes, but what does it do? Will it stop my hair from being dry? To in your own case, the inspiration gallery and then presenting the new collection is something that they're looking forward to all of a sudden. So it also contextualizes, the content can contextualize a little bit some of the product initiatives that you're going to do, and then they can actually come in and have more acceptance.
Okay, my second question is, which is the trickiest? From what I see, not as a professional, as a Facebook user, most of the social media activities has turned into social assisted spamming. It's just brands asking people to like their pages or invite their friends, and they're empowering users to spam their friends. There are some of my friends that I removed just because they're spamming me with those stupid contests. So how do you go beyond, or how do you avoid social spamming?
It's a policy we don't do. You don't have to like our page to share.
But brands ask for them. Brands, they're always asking for these things because those things, let's face it, they generate good numbers.
But they generate numbers and they generate likes on the page that are not non-active in the end. So we don't do it, and there's a big deal of being the expert with your client and telling them, well, this is what you can do and what you can't do, and we have
So
big debates.
You'd rather lose a client than do this activity for them?
I don't lose clients. You do the right thing. I mean, this is like one small thing, and we're doing a bunch of things for this client. So, no, I won't lose them over such a debate. But even you have to convince them of what's really right for them.
Because I mean, personally, I lost some clients because I refused to do these things. So I'm just wondering if you've had the same experience.
Up till now, no. But you have to be really kind of there's a whole lot of client education that needs to happen in this region in particular, around the dynamics, around what works and what doesn't work, around what Facebook accepts or not. Like my page to see the content. By the way, Facebook will ban you at some point. So when the guy asks for this, you really have to push back. And I've had a 3-month fight with the clients to remove this from there. But and now they enjoy that. All the fans are there and viewing the content without liking, and they have more views than likes, but they're actually happy. More users than likes, and they're happy. So it's all about kind of doing the right thing, and we are a bit of a purist and rigid about this. So voilà.
I guess it takes a lot of education, and if the client is too focused on the marketing aspect of social networks, I think they're missing 80% of the added value of social networking. There's a book, a very good book called Smart Business, Social Business, which differentiates between what a social brand is and what a social business is. And there is a big difference. It's easy to be a social brand. All you need is a Facebook page, a couple of thousands of fans, and some content. You're a social brand. You're there. You're in the social conversation. But to actually be a social business, it takes a lot more. You need to re-engineer your processes within your organization in order to take full advantage of the capabilities of social networking and social media. It was a dream come true. If you told a marketer 20 years ago that you can know about how your clients exactly think and what they tell their friends about your brand, it would have been like a dream. Today we have it. It's a tool that we have, and very few marketers or brands are actually using it. We, as an agency, we mostly deal with marketing managers, and this is starting to frustrate us a bit. We want to get to the CEO now, because we can feel the power that social media is bringing. It doesn't just stop at marketing. The insights that we get from the pages sometimes are just it's not just the marketing department's role.
It's related to product development.
Absolutely. So once you show the client the value of social media in general, not just the marketing element of social media, they themselves wouldn't care about spamming their fans a lot. And once they learn how to listen to their fans and to their users, they will immediately feel that spamming is not working. It's actually backfiring.
So it's about educating brands, and I mean they're like getting to the CEOs and trying to
and plugging the feedback loop. So because marketers are used to one-way broadcasts, they put the ad in the newspaper or they put it on the radio, and they don't know what happens. It's a one-way stream.
So marketing are screwing things up.
Sorry?
The marketeers are screwing things up.
They're not, because marketing, in the original term of marketing and integrated marketing, it's all about listening first and then saying the things.
Yeah,
and then
this is
doing
in theory, but not in practice.
In practice, not many are practicing it. But I tell you that social media is bringing a lot of pressure on organizations and on governments, on regimes, to actually start working in a social way. The old days are over. We're witnessing the last 2 years of traditional marketing. Khalas, it's over. Social media is going to give you the immediate, clear feedback channel, so you'll know what's really happening with your audience. It's not like the old days when the marketing manager can go to the CEO and tell him we had just a great campaign and spent $200,000, and today you can exactly know what that campaign did and the effect that it did on both the sales and on the consumer perception and sentiment. So I believe once the clients realize what social media is and that it's a bit more than just communicating messages, they will themselves stop spamming.
But what about the, I mean, the other smaller or like some freelancers who do social media and they encourage and they only sell this social spamming? I mean, how do you prevent those from corrupting the marketeers and the brands and the market?
I guess in every profession it exists in every profession. You always have
the difference in social media is it's the barrier to entry is so low. Any guy or girl with a Facebook page and with a Twitter account, they can claim that they're like the social media gurus or the social media ninjas, and they can go, if they can sell themselves pretty well, they can sell their services.
If you ask any old guy from a marketing or advertising agency, he will tell you that he went through the exact same experience. I have a mentor called Joe Saad. He started one of the first agencies in the region, advertising agencies, and the stories that he tells us is exactly what we're living today. That every person in the 80s thought that he was an advertising guru and started an advertising agency with 1 or 2 employees. We're going through the same thing. It's just a phase, I think. It will definitely pass. It's not sustainable this way.
I know. So how will it pass? Like those guys will drop, or the brands will become more aware?
If you come to me and tell me I'll sell you a laptop for 10 JDs, I'll try it. To tell you the truth, I'll try it. But once I figure that out, it's not a laptop, it's actually a calculator.
So it just needs time and learning experience.
Absolutely.
The brands will be more demanding, and the approaches will change. I just got into the conversation to make it more exciting and like so like interactive. So I also think the same way. That's why I wanted to go into the conversation. Because it will be, social media business will not be that easy anymore. Also connecting with our own topic, the spamming of the brands. The brand have a perception that they could compete people among themselves, like give them prizes. Every time they brief agencies, it's not like that. If you focus on the value you create for users, you have the good results. You can give them, for example, new experiences, or you can give them experiences what they could not live without an interactive or without a social environment. For example, if you have a new product, you can give them the opportunity to experience that product on the screen. If they cannot go out of the house, or if they are living far away where you cannot make a road show, just give them the chance to experience it on a click. Or you can also give them content what they cannot find.
But isn't it difficult? Isn't it difficult to convince brands to sacrifice good numbers in exchange for engaged experience?
Can I jump in there? I think marketers, if there's lots of marketers in the audience, you need to think about when you're giving your social media agency the brief, what the parameters for success are. A lot of times the parameters for success are
likes and comments,
followers
and fans.
Fans, ya معلم. Fans. عايزين fans. Okay, you could have a page, and I've seen pages with hundreds of. You see the new I'm sure all of you guys see people talking about your brand now on Facebook underneath the number of fans. You have freaking 120,000 fans and 200 people talking about your brand. And who the hell cares about the 200,000 fans? The brief was written wrong, so everything that's going to be done based on that brief is wrong, and then you're going to achieve the parameters for success that were on the brief, and then you'll achieve pretty much nothing.
So it's about, clarifying to the brands that numbers, they don't mean much.
Yeah, and maybe as well, especially if you have a nice client, you need to educate them.
The challenge here is that marketeers, they have CEOs and general managers to report to, and those guys, they care about the numbers.
They care what numbers?
It's reports at the end of the day.
Is it likes? Is it fans? Or is it engagement? You need to engage.
But at the end of the day, you're presenting a report with graphs. So, how can you show engagement as a graph? The likes, it's easy to show them.
I'm managing today a relationship with one client, 9 brands. And I can tell you that I manage a lot of numbers, and they want numbers. Yes, likes are there, but you have to be contextualizing the likes and with all the rest of the information. We talk about users, we focus on active users. When we talk about level of interaction, we contextualize the stuff. And now we're really talking about sales, which is supposedly, or in the end, kind of the main game here, and trying to and quantifying for them also how we're pushing to sales. So yes, there is this kind of risk on the likes. I tell you, we take clients head on. I don't. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. And I know the guys here are pretty brave as well to kind of push back on weird briefs and so on. And it's about client education. Yes, there is a risk about being focused, but I can tell you that there are numbers. And yes, the likes is the easiest, most public one. It's all out there. Everybody loves showing the size of their likes. I understand it's easy to do, but you have to work much harder on the numbers. And these are numbers that are not easily available. The active users and actually qualifying and how interactions per users and so on. Facebook Insights is good, but it's not yet there.
You need to go further than the Facebook Insights.
Voilà, you need to go much further than that, and then you get to the actual KPIs that matter.
Okay, sorry guys, but we have to take questions from the audience.
Some people say that social media is a two-sided sword. I mean, yes, I can go there and say, oh, your shampoo made my hair lovely, your skincare product was really good to my skin, but I can say that there are going to be a bunch of disgruntled users where they say, oh, my hair fell off, or my skin is too dry. Where do you draw the line on censorship, if you do censorship? That's the first question. And the second thing is whether you guys can share...
By censorship, you mean deleting those comments?
Deleting those comments. I mean, do you delete them yourself, reply to them, or leave the community to reply to them? And also, if you guys can give us examples of what is the worst things that your disgruntled user said and how you guys actually dealt with it. Thank you.
Okay, that's a great question.
That's a nice question. Can I start with it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, first of all, you don't censor.
Please just keep the answers brief because I want to get a couple of questions in and we have to wrap up.
All right,
so you don't censor. You don't remove anything.
Never censor. Never delete a comment. It's always going to blow up in your face. That comment is never going to make as much damage as actually deleting a comment and someone picking it up. And what's the second part? Sorry, the worst.
What's an example of something that like a negative comment that you got for one of your clients and how you responded to that?
Yeah, we have a client. We have a client that is kind of like a news provider. And we once posted a news article, just posting the article without any comment, and then we were called out as being Islamists. You also know Egypt. So basically, we think the best way to do it is take the problem offline. So we contacted the user privately, and then we called them offline and cleared it up.
Definitely a best practice, taking it offline. One little point is an angry person is 10 times more likely to complain. A happy person is 10 times less likely to complain. If you find a way to empower your happy customers, that will definitely improve the sentiment on your page, on your community.
So you mean they can reply on your behalf, they can clear things up with the disgruntled users?
Definitely, and give people a chance to also share their positive experiences. Don't just wait for people to complain.
Fadi?
Maybe we can get one more question so that we can move quickly.
All right, another question.
Thank you very much. Great panel, great insights. What about social media activities that lead to real action? Not real action, but people moving and leaving their laptops and doing something. There was one mention about fashion, but I'd love to hear other insights about...
You mean integrating the offline components in the social media?
Exactly, yeah. Real interaction, so it becomes more memorable. Thank you.
It was already my turn, so I would like to answer the question. This is something we love to do, actually, because we want to show real action to the customer also. For example, social media is not just like Facebook application, we love to use mobile landing pages, for example. We buy mobile advertisement and then lead user to a landing page where we can show them some action and point them to the restaurants or point them to the sales point where our products are showcased, for example. And then we can also see how many people got into the mobile page and how many people clicked on which location. And so we can also assume how many people got into the store. And you can also, for example, put some checks into the store, and then if they go and redeem the checks, you see that they took real action. And
so you're talking about measuring the offline activity.
So you can use, for example, mobile applications and landing pages to lead them into the stores. As well as mobile, you can also use normal like social media platforms to lead them into the stores or lead them into the offline platforms. For example, we have made some case studies where we gave users to find which points of sale they could go like near to their houses. For example, they open the Facebook tab and there is Google Maps inside, and the customer stores are pointed there. You can click there and see the telephone number, the address. You can see how you go to that store, like on the map. You know, it shows like can you walk there or can you go with a metro, things like this. So we give them value and make it easier for them to go out of the house and go to the store. You can also use location-based applications like Foursquare, or like you can also use Facebook Places. On that applications, you can make like things like treasure hunting, where they go to different places and
So
then
turn it
get
into
some
like a location-based game to encourage people to.
Yeah, you don't
step
have to write
outside.
the application. You can just make a scenario. For example, for a design shop, we made 5 different shops. We chose 5 different shops. 2 of them were in the Asian side of Istanbul. 3 of them were in the European side of Istanbul. So we gave different people in Istanbul the chance to go to that shop and redeem a code and then win prizes. And in the shops, we also put some posters where they got some information about Foursquare, how to use it, how they can participate on the competition. So there are several ways to take the user out of the computer, out of the house, and interact with them using social technologies.
Last question, or you have something to add?
No, let's take the last question.
Okay, one last question.
Just wanted to ask, do you know your top influencers? We talked about bloggers, but they are not necessarily the top influencers for your specific brand. And do you know what is the most thing that bothers users, or the most thing that attracts them?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Can you clarify?
First point or the second? The first point?
The question, the second one.
Okay. I mean, you want to get the feedback of the users, which is probably a lot and very variant. So how do you deal with it? Each point by point, I mean.
Okay, so
what is your best product?
How do you get feedback, and then how do you structure it and respond to it, right?
Yeah.
And the first question is do you know your top influencers?
Sorry?
The first question is, do you know who's...
We talked about bloggers. We reach bloggers and talk to them about our new products and so on. But they are not necessarily the top influencers. Maybe someone is interested in your brand and he's active on social networks, but he's not a blogger or so. He's not generally active. He's active only about your brand.
If I may respond quickly, I think we identify bloggers that are good in the relevant field when we want to leverage them on some operations. And most often, if a blogger is less active and less prominent, but very passionate about your brand, you'll find out about it pretty quickly on your brand's wall. So, and these guys, we also identify them and nurture them. So you work both ways, either proactively and then reactively based on what's happening on your wall. And how do you motivate them? It's all about, it's mostly about giving them a platform to express themselves and giving them experience that they can really blog about. So we've already taken bloggers to experience products, to actually touch the thing in real life and talk about it freely. Maybe bitch about it, but that's our approach.
If you use tools like Radiant 6, listening tools, you will find out about people who are talking about your brand outside your own channels. And this is the most important bit. You don't need to just focus on your own page. You want to see who is talking about your brand on Twitter, who's telling their friend a good or a bad thing. And then you can go and cross-check it with cloud.com, Klout,
to see how influencers those people are.
So to see if this person is an influencer. In the States, the biggest challenge today in the United States is prioritizing the customer relationship management, because companies are seeing an overwhelming amount of questions and feedback and comments on Twitter, and they cannot respond to everyone. So they're using tools like Cloud and Radian 6 to basically prioritize, to deal with the influencers first.
Tariq?
Yeah, I'm good. You pretty much covered it. Yeah, the only thing is that Radiant is probably if you're doing your own thing, maybe you want to use more.
It's mostly about listening, not only like listening outside, not only on the Facebook page and on the Twitter account. Listening to the bloggers, to YouTube comments, to.
Yeah, definitely. I think Omar's gonna kill us.
We're gonna take only one more question. Okay.
So do you have any numbers? I have a voice over. Do you have any numbers on the conversion rate between the likes and those that take an action?
You mean between likes and sales, for example?
Example, sales. If this is the action that is needed by the customer, if you have numbers.
Okay, so it's like a percentage conversion rate.
No, you can't.
5%, 1%.
No, you can't. It depends on the brand and it depends on what you're doing.
No, but I think she's looking for like a rough number, not something accurate.
I don't think you can come up with a rough number.
Give us any stat from any case.
Okay.
Come on, guys.
Like I mean, between from every 100 likes, you got like one customer.
I once saw a study by Starbucks that said that every 1 out of 6, every engagement got them 6 fans, and every 6 passing by engagements got them an action. I don't know how accurate that is. The problem is every brand
seems
is
a bit high.
Yeah, it's
Do you have from your experience any number that you can share with us?
we track our campaigns, but it's true. Let me think of one. Veromoda example, we got
the sales like 20% increase.
A 21% increase. The foot traffic in 1 week increased by 1,400 visitors. Usually they had, I think, 2,000 visitors a week. They got around 4,000 visitors a week, and their sales increased 40%. But one of our other clients, Royal Jordanian, we've tracked that 13% of their sales, online sales, are coming from the Facebook fan page, which is pretty recent, the activity on it.
But there's no connection between the likes or the engagements or the campaigns with the sales.
I can guarantee you that there is no connection at all between the number of fans and anything.
I think the way if you really want to measure that, like he was talking earlier about, for example, having something in store. Or
you mean
coupons
or?
Not necessarily. Just the way to measure direct traffic. You'd have to, if that was the objective of the campaign, then you have to create something specific, like some of his examples. But if you're just going to look at the statistics and then sales increased, and then you're going to make an assumption that the number of likes increased and those people actually went to the store. If you don't actually have something set up like he was talking about to track it, then I think it's just an assumption at best. Yeah.
I think Vadi's case can. How did the shaving machine? How did that convert?
I can give you some numbers about the shaving machine. For example, there the word of mouth was very important. We had an algorithm there, so you play every day and you get more points. You share with your friends, you get more points. So near 60% of the people who got into the game were people who were invited from their friends, for example, and then this lead to sales. I want to give some other information.
You don't have any direct sales numbers.
Direct sales number. It was from the e-commerce platform.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
no, you see the percentage of. It was the first. The machine was the most popular machine who was sold out. Who was, nasıl diyeyim ben? The best machine, it was the number 1 on the sales,
Yeah, but
you don't get the number.
She's looking for a number, specific number. I mean, like 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever.
We have made some advertisement tests, and then you see which advertisement and which message leads to more impression and more likes, and then you see that with every message you share, there are different impressions. So you may have a big community or a smaller community. But it depends on with every interaction you do. it's just not like sales and then leading to sales. You shall optimize your message. You shall optimize your even your URL you share with the people. Even the platform you sell, you give the sale to the people will affect the interaction.
If I may add, I'm not sure there's from a conceptual standpoint, your likes are an asset. It's a community that revolves around your brand and your marketing activity. And if we're talking about sales, that's a flow. So it's something for a defined period of time. Just from a standpoint of a ratio taking you from here to there is actually not precisely the best ratio you want to look at. It's the return on your community year after year, and it's not the same, and it's not the same shape year after year either. It doesn't do the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Don't go away.